Hi everyone, my name is Cecilia and today we're hitting the ground running. I pre-selected most of the cards for this video, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about them. I got these cards from Everyday Explorers and they came free with a purchase of over $65 at the beginning of 2023. I really like the colors of the year card, so I put it in the middle between the photo of a sunrise and then the startup screen of my new MacBook. January card will go here. It goes well with the drawing my nephew made with the orange marker. Then we have our snow day photos and a journal card from In a Creative Bubble. On this side, I'm going to use the Fresh Start acetate and this journal card from the Ali Edwards Begin Story Kit from 2022. This red journal card is an old one from Paper Person Shop, and this is also an Ali Edwards card. So I am just flipping over the page and I haven't decided what will go here yet, but this card is from the Documenter kit called You've Got Mail from Studio Calico. Starting off with the January card, I'm going to stamp it with a sentiment and some lines for journaling. The stamp set that I'm going to be using is by Studio Calico and it's called Lots of Love. The sentiment I chose is "This makes me happy," but before I stamp anything, I'm going to make sure that it's going to fit the way that I want it to. I haven't picked out my ink yet, but I'm thinking of using a yellow or a purple that matches with the colors up above. I must admit I'm a little bit nervous about stamping directly onto the card, but if something goes awry, then I can use the back side of this card. Since the line stamp is wider than the card, I'm going to put some post-it notes to block the ink from getting on the orange parts of the card. These are the swatches for my ink colors. The template for these are from Jennifer McGuire, and I put them in some 6x8 pocket pages that have 2x2 pockets. And I'm going to try out the Tim Holtz Distress Oxides in Spiced Marmalade and Wild Honey. Since these stamps are brand new, I'm going to prep them with Versamark ink first. You can also prep them with an eraser or by rubbing them on your clothes. The reason we prep stamps is that there's a fine coating on the stamp from production, and roughing up the surface helps get more ink on the stamp for a better impression. I'm using the mini Misty stamping platform so that when I need more ink on a stamp, I can be confident that I will stamp it in the exact same spot. I'm using a stamp pressing tool from Craftelier to apply even pressure to the stamp, and I went with Spiced Marmalade for the sentiment. I did have some trouble with the H on this stamp, and I wasn't sure if it was me or the stamp. Sometimes there are issues with the stamp, and sometimes there's an air bubble when you place the stamp onto the stamping platform. In this case, I thought I wasn't putting enough pressure, and when I did the first stamp on the card, I wasn't going to mess with it, but I do believe that it was an air bubble because when I tried it again off the stamping platform, the H was a little bit thin, but it was still fully printed. For the heart, I'm trying out Wild Honey, Mustard Seed, and Fossilized Amber Distress Oxides. I really liked Fossilized Amber, so I went with that one, and it actually matched the 2023 card perfectly. This little guy in the corner here is the stamping cleaning pad from Craftelier, which is a craft store in Spain that ships to Europe and the US. You can use that cleaning pad along with the spray. I moved the post-it notes in a little bit as I wanted there to be some white space between the lines and the orange border. I love it when things turn out exactly like I wanted them to. I'm journaling about the photo of my then 4-year-old nephew. He drew a family portrait and included me in it. I hadn't seen him in person in 6 months, so I was really happy to be included. I'm adding the date with a roller stamp from One Canoe 2, which has been discontinued, and the ink is Clean Slate by Studio Calico. I'm looking for a sticker to add to the sunrise card, and I like the orange sticker from Studio Calico that says "So Epic," but I don't want it directly onto the photo because I feel like it's too much contrast against the darker colors of the photo. So I'm going to use this label from Paper Person as a buffer, and I'll add the date to the label. I gotta admit, orange is not one of my favorite colors, so I don't love this, but I do like it better than putting it directly onto that photo. Moving on to the hello photo, I was hoping to use the vellum sticker paper circles by Heidi Swapp for this, but they weren't opaque enough, so I just stamped the best part of today from the Sunnyside stamp set by Studio Calico in Memento Brilliance Moonlight White. For the snow day photos, I'm going to be using the Studio Calico Alpine Valley stamp set and their chambray ink. The snow day card is from Inner Creative Bubbles Hello Winter journaling cards, and it's not often that we get snow around these parts. We get all the gray skies, lots of rain, but very little snow. So we were happy and we went for a little walk. I stamped a true winter wonderland on this photo after testing it out on some cardstock, and the stamp is from the Alpine Valley stamp set. I chose the Fresh Start acetate for this page because it felt like the new year started once my family had left. We started working out again and eating healthier. I trimmed the edges so they would fit in the pocket, and I removed the film before putting it in the pocket. The acetate and this journal card are from the Begin Story Kit by Ali Edwards, and I'm journaling about my cardio goal and my dietary goals set by my doctor, and about my husband's workout plan. I chose the red journal card by Paper Person Shop to go with the red from the acetate and the blue and red journal card. I'm journaling about how we work out together in the morning, me on the Peloton bike and him using the Peloton guide, and I started the Discover Your Zones program. I tried out a new recipe and it was so good. I stamped This Was Super Yummy from the Feed Your Craft Let's Eat stamp set on the vellum sticker circle with StazOn jet black ink. I really wish these stickers had been a little bit more opaque, but I just got some new vellum sticker paper from Craftelier, so I will have to try it out and let you guys know how it is. When I'm putting together a spread, I don't like to put two journal cards next to each other, whether they be side by side or one on top of the other. But I did so here because I felt like the tree photo was a little too busy next to the chair photo and the journaling would break that up. Since I will be adding journaling for both photos on one journal card, I'm going to use the placement of the date to subtly signal which photo the journaling is referring to. The journaling for the tree photo just talks about letting Maya enjoy the last moments of the Christmas tree before I took it down, and the photo on the right is of Maya glaring at me because I did not realize that she wanted me to open the window, and also she did not want any photos taken. Thank you very much. I taped the photo and the journal card together so they won't shuffle in the 6x4 pocket. You may have noticed, but my mom FaceTimed me while I was putting the layout together, and it did slow me down a little bit, but I hope that you guys don't find it too distracting. I'm adding a label to the photo of the puzzle that my husband and I were working on. It was a gift from my brother. The stamp says Quality Time Together, and it is also from Studio Calico's Alpine Valley stamp set. I'm using an old Ali Edwards label. The label paper felt a little slick, so I tested the Studio Calico ink on it, but it smudged, so I decided to go with StazOn ink instead. I stamped the date and wrote a line of journaling with a Sharpie Ultra Fine marker. Once I was done, I adhered the label and trimmed the excess. This is where I started to move things around a little bit. I was going to tape together the photo of Maya and the card with the record on it, but then I thought I would need some journaling for the selfie, so I moved the photo of the movie The Menu over to the left side, and I swapped out the record card for a lilac card from Paper Person Shop. It says currently watching, and I just wrote down a couple of thoughts on this very gross movie. I moved the photo of Maya to the middle right, and I'm going to add a Studio Calico chipboard sticker that says "So grateful for this," and I'm very grateful whenever I get to pet Maya or even give her some scratches because I don't get to often enough. I'm also adding the date aligned with that part of the chair. Moving on to the little blurb of text. It is a memory from Facebook from 14 years ago last year, so 15 years ago now. And it says, Cecilia is watching Columbo so I can return the DVDs back to Netflix and get something new. Talk about a blast from the past. Jeez. I told my niece last year that Netflix used to have DVDs back in the day because she was 19 last year when she came to visit us and she had no idea. I trimmed the blurb down to size and I pulled out a few of the paper person stamp sets looking for the Netflix N from the new episode stamp set. The ink I used is Tomato Soup by Paper Person and I fussy cut the N after I stamped it. I really struggled with this card, maybe because I was distracted talking to my mom, but I was also checking with her to see what she thought as I went along. I tried a couple of things with the N and ultimately I went with the ticket also from that same stamp set. I really thought I was going to go with this red card with the white stars, but I didn't. I thought the stars were too bright and a little too distracting. I was showing my mom the two options and she agreed that I should go with the red card with the slightly darker polka dots. The yellow label I had used felt really out of place. Instead, I went with a little rainbow tag with a beige background and I cut it so it would also look like a ticket before I added some journaling to it. The journaling says, and I'm still watching Columbo but on Peacock, and I adhered this ticket with a Tombow mono permanent adhesive. I'm thinking about the placement because I don't want to put the two journal cards together and I'm looking for something that was going to go here. Things have gotten out of hand when I'm like, because I can't find something I wanted to use for that side. This piece of cardstock is gray with darker gray stars and it's from Laura by Laura's Postcards paper pad. I trimmed it down to 3x4 to use it as the background. The camera die cut is from the You've Got Mail documentary kit from Studio Calico from January 2023. And I just don't remember where the Here's the Story label came from. After adhering them down, I stamped the date and added the journaling about going to the optometrist wearing all gray. And that's why the card is also gray on gray. I went in search of tiny sentiments. Oh no, of real life. Just one of those days. Blah day. But went with because it fit and it was blue. And to eye drops on a schedule for somebody who's got ADHD. And I just wanted to point out that I ended up going with photo, journal card, photo, journal card, photo, journal card. My mom turned 70 last year and I love this photo my sister took of her while they were celebrating her birthday. I'm using these balloon die cuts from Felicity Jane. And the happy birthdays are from the Good Day Sunshine digital printable cards from Studio Calico. I had gotten a 3x4 journal card in my kit, but I wanted options. I added the journaling directly onto the photo via Photoshop. This is a 6x8 plastic attacher sticker by Ali Edwards that is cut in half, and they have film on them, so I removed it before adhering it to the back of the photo. The foam dots come out when I need some dimension. Some of these are from Michaels, others are from American Crafts, and some of them I don't even remember. I'm adding the circle foam dots to the circle happy birthday, and then I'm adhering it down to the photo. Next, I work on the balloons. The 7 got tiny squares and the 0 got bigger squares. I wanted the numbers to overlap a little bit. I didn't put anything on the back of the photo, and perhaps I will one day, but I just haven't found something that I really like. Finally, I wanted to add a little more color to the Netflix logo, and I didn't have a Copic marker that would work, so I pulled out my Crayola markers and tried a couple. Then I shaded the stems of the N with one of them. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of red line tape to the back of the acetate so that it doesn't keep sliding out of the pocket. And now we're done. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And if you do, you might want to hit that notification bell so that you know when I post next. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye.